Okay, folks, let me know you can hear me. We'll get started as soon as we get the streaming going. Two seconds. All right. Do you hear all the crazy noises I make? I just wonder. Do you all hear the crazy noises I make as I'm getting ready to open the trade room when I first put on the mic, or no? I'm just curious. I just made some crazy sound. I'm choking to death on my coffee. I'm slurping the coffee. I'm just like, you ever see Chris Farley when he just pours the drinks all over himself? Oh man. I watched the documentary last night with Chris Farley. It was so sad, but so beautiful. He was such an amazing person. Really funny guy. I loved him. All right, everybody, welcome to the WASDE Trade Room. Welcome everyone that's streaming with us. Thanks for coming. Let me just get everything going properly. I just blew the whole stream out, darn it. All right, I hope they can hear me. Welcome to the WASDE Trade Room. My name is Lee Goldstein. I'm the trading director for 10-Minute Trades. Please remember that all the trades we discuss are for educational purposes. I don't think there was anybody funnier than Chris Farley, certainly in his peak. I mean, Tommy Boy is the most amazing, is the first 45 minutes of Tommy Boy is the funniest movie I've ever seen. Even funnier than Airplane. But here's something I don't understand. So maybe somebody can clear one thing up for me and we'll start the trade room. Why was Adam Sandler snubbed in Uncut Gems? Why did he not win the Oscar? I mean, it was the best acting I've ever seen in my life. And the movie wasn't even nominated. And it was amazing. I mean, I don't know how many people have seen it. It's not a comedy. It's a serious movie. And it was absolutely spectacular. And to this day, I don't understand why he didn't at least get nominated for an Oscar, because it was some of the best acting I've ever seen in my life. So I can't find any information anywhere why he got snubbed. It has to be political, something going on in, Hollywood's inner stupidity, whatever. But it was mind-boggling how good he was. If you have not seen that movie, Uncut Gems, it's amazing. It's amazing. And his acting is beyond comprehension, how good he is. All right, so we're here for WASDE. WASDE is a grain report. World Agricultural Supply Demand Estimate. Now, so I did a little research because there have been some times where WASDE in the winter slows down. Now, we didn't get slowdowns necessarily. And when I say slow down, I mean the move is not as big as it was previously. So we haven't really seen that. We saw it a little bit on last month WASDE traded with quarterly grains. It was nice and profitable, but not nearly as big of a move as we thought it would be. But it was profitable. But people have said, hey, WASDE in the winter, not as good, not as good, not as good. So I went back and I found a whole bunch of very old WASDE videos. I'm not going to show them all here. Maybe I'll show one just so you could see the charts. It's kind of fun. So here's a chart from, you know what? I want to set the trades up first. I don't want to rush or anything like that. And I have a couple of different things I want to talk about. So let's look at the DMM, and then I'll show as many videos as I can. Okay. So the WASDE's a grain report. It's a family money trade. It has had 2 stops in the last 4. And that's what I was saying. It's coming into the winter, it stopped in December and it stopped in October. And maybe that's what's happening with WASDE this year instead of it being dull. I'd rather it be dull than have a stop out, but we don't have a choice. We take what we get. It's just, that's the way it is. My corn trade, very, very close to the DMM. I have one personal change that I make. I use a bracket of 6. You can use 5 or 6. And then I use 3 positions. And my targets are 7, 15, and 25 today. Those are my targets today. And the stop is 10. And the entry time, before I do the entry time, I want to look at my brackets and make sure that they're good. Like I said, I'm not rushing today. Okay. And the entry time is 11:59:59. And WASDE trades I trade corn. You can trade soybeans. Why do I like corn better? I just find over the years, and there have been many years where we traded soybeans. That's what I found so interesting about going back and looking at old WASDE videos, because I was able to see old setups, which was great. I'm going to save my template today. WASDE corn. Now I did check volume. We are on the right contract. And let's record this. So corn to me has been less whippy than soybeans. And it doesn't mean that soybeans don't work, because soybeans are okay on WASDE. What I usually do is, because there was an occasion where we had a corn setup that seemed like it was not safe, and we actually changed over to soybeans at the last second. So what I normally do with WASDE is I usually set up 2 trades from the DMM. I trade the soybean market. I put on a trade for soy, but I don't enable it. And if corn has a very volatile move before the news, then I can switch over to soybeans. So the soybean setup, if you scroll down, it's an 8-tick bracket. And the targets are similar. It's a slightly bigger stop. The stop is 12. And the entry time is 58, 1 second earlier. Soybeans, they do seem to move a tiny bit quicker. Not always. So it's 11:59, 58. And let's label it soy. And it's going to be live, but I'm not enabling it because I'm not trading them both at the same time. Some people do. Some people in the room trade them both. So soybeans, it's a bracket. I'm using a bracket of 8. The targets on the DMM are 7 and 17. Remember, you can mix them up. It could be 6 and 18 if you're trading 2 contracts. It could be 8 and 18. And then I'm adding a third for 25. And the entry time is 11:59:58. And like I said, I'm not enabling the trade, but let me look at my brackets before I get going. So hang on 1 second. So the bracket is 8. Time is 0. And that looks like a good bracket. Perfect. And then, now, we don't do it often, but WASDE, it does have, sometimes it has amazing reversals. Sometimes it'll continue. But we've seen quite a few WASDEs that reverse quite strongly also. So we'll see. So what would you do? So it's easy to set up a reversal trade, right? Now, remember, I'm not putting on my WASDE, but let's say corn has a very wild pre-news event volatility like it did in April. All right. And I show that all the time, what happened in April. Maybe I'll show it. All right. Because it was unusual. And then, but what I'm going to do first, I'll show April, but I'm going to put a reversal trade on. It doesn't mean I have to do anything with it, but, and sometimes WASDE needs a fair bit of management, so you might not always have time for a reversal. But so let's say though that I want to give myself the opportunity, so I'll put reversal on, and I'll use one position with a target of 20 ticks with a stop Let me just think for a second. Of 14 ticks. Now, WASDE, corn, and soybeans are like the mini S&P. They're 1250 per tick. Okay. Now, reversal, you don't need anything except a position, a target, and a stop. Position, a target, and a stop. And I think I'm going to use a 16 stop. And of course, I'm going to label it. And I'll have the buttons if I want them. I don't have to do anything with it. So reversal gives me the buttons. If I want them, I'll have them. So why am I doing that? First, let's look at what I was talking about in April and why I did what I said. I was putting on, why am I putting on two WASDE trades, two different instruments? Because in April, something very unusual happened. And there's no reason not to do this because you can, okay? You can do it. Let me just record this. Okay, I already did that. I'm losing my mind. Okay, good. So April, here's what happened. I hope it was April. I hope it was April. Well, we're going to find out. So in April, there was a very, very big move. And let me make sure it's the right month. It is. Okay. So watch what happens. Before the news is out, corn explodes to the upside, acting like the news already came out. It already came out. It acted like the news was out. So I canceled corn and then I went to soybeans and we traded soybeans. It was a successful trade. And ironically, corn was successful also. But if you ever see a move that large before seconds before a news report, that's a reason, excuse me, to cancel a news report. That's a reason to cancel this. You shouldn't have an abnormal move like that. It's not normal. It's completely unexpected and abnormal, and you don't want to trade when an instrument is behaving abnormally. I went to the website time.is to make sure my program, my computer's in sync. Exit on session close. I don't know why anybody, I don't know why you would ever touch it. Those are defaults that, I mean, we never mention them. It should be on 30. Don't ever touch those. There's no reason to. Okay. I don't know why you would change it. Honest. I would not change it. The defaults are defaults because you understand default is a default. Don't change defaults unless you absolutely unequivocally beyond comprehension know what you're doing. Okay. And if you want to know what an item means, hover your mouse over the label. All the pieces in the software, all the fields, right? All the fields. If you hover over it, profit 3 ticks, distance of target and ticks, it'll give you a slight definition of the field. Hover your mouse over it, okay? If you hover cancel after X seconds, time allowed to work the entry orders. And then it also gives you the values that you can use, okay? And not everything, unfortunately, not every single thing gets defined. And the interesting thing is the defaults don't get defined. And all that really means is, Andrew, is if you're not out of the trade and the session ends and the market's going to close, it's going to take you out. Unless you want to stay in when potentially the market might close, right? Which most people do not want to do. Most people want out when a session's going to close. So I did some research, what I was saying before, and February, March were not necessarily smaller over the years than other times of the year. Okay. So I just want to be clear on that. There have been winters where, yes, it was quieter. So it can happen. You can get a winter that's quieter, but we're almost out of winter now also. In other words, it's February. And if you think farmers aren't thinking about planting, they are thinking about planting. No problem, Andrew. Andrew, in this case, it wouldn't have any effect because the session's not going to be ending. So there, because of the time of year, I think farmers, I think next month is probably more thinking about planting, but it's not just about how many acres they plant, etc. So let me show you an old WASDE, February 2019. Look how different the charts look. Very crazy. And delayed, news was delayed. That's the other thing for WASDE. I would not cancel WASDE. Usually it has had a history of being delayed. It sometimes can delay. See, soybeans moved. No, I apologize. That's corn. So that's interesting. A decent move. Those charts are spread wider. That's all it is. So a decent move, not like gigantic, and that was 2019. And then I even have a 2018, I think. February of 2018 with soybeans. We were trading soybeans. Not sure why. Not sure why we weren't trading corn, or at least looking at both. And a moderate move, nothing big, nothing big. But the situation that we are dealing with is that the recent history of WASDE, win or lose, has been very large moves. So I'm not planning on a small move. I'm not planning gigantic because we still are in winter. But recent history has had pretty big moves. So I just want to welcome everybody on YouTube. I didn't even welcome everybody. If you'd, be kind enough to give us a like, hit that like button, as everybody says, and sign up for the channel and hit the bell so you know the next time we're streaming. We'll be streaming tomorrow. So we checked our time sync, right? By going to the website time.is. Now, WASDE is a report that the news is not really reported. If you go to the government website, the news will be there. It's a very long, complicated report. By the time you're finished reading the report, the trade would be long over. But none of the websites, investing.com, not even Financial Juice, reports on WASDE. And I think part of the issue is it's a difficult report to comment on because it's so complicated. So I think that's probably the reason that it's a non-news reporting event. You can go to the USDA website and read the report right after the news comes out. Because look, this is not like GDP, excuse me, where it's just a number, a couple of numbers that get reported. Now, all this news is known in advance. These are not reports that nobody knows what the results are because, obviously the WASDE report is pages long. I don't know when it was prepared, but it wasn't 5 minutes before the news. And the same goes for, all your GDP and your jobs reports. Those are reports that it's amazing. The confidentiality seems to be pretty well maintained, at least from us, from the retail traders. We don't know, somebody out there knows what these reports say. Now, are they trading it? Right? Like if you're working for the agency that prepares the US GDP report or the US jobs report, I would think that you must have to sign a document that doesn't allow you to trade based on that knowledge. You'd think. But then you'd also think that senators wouldn't be allowed to trade on their knowledge, and they're trading and making millions, trading on bills they're passing. It's like, I don't know if anybody's watching a show called The Gilded Age on HBO, but the aldermen are trading on news that no one else knows about. And it's in the news right now today. They want to pass a law that doesn't allow the Senate, people in Congress or in government to trade because it's all insider trading. It's not fair. Let's watch. I mean, if I knew what the jobs report was the day before, we wouldn't be here. You'd be on my yacht, not Joe Manchin's yacht. Oh, that is impossible to believe. Absolutely impossible to believe. It hit my first target. I'm moving my stop down and it backs up and reverses me out of the trade for a loss. It's beyond comprehension. Beyond comprehension. Now, we don't know what the news is. Look at the whipsaw on soybeans. Andrew, that was very nice making money on soybeans. What happened to other people on corn? And it was a good fill. It wasn't that it was a bad fill, but it stopped me on 3 of my contracts. Now it's hard to know definitively. It looks like it's bad news. It looks like it's bad news. Or the market's perceiving it that way. Did anybody else trade corn with me on that? And I'm just wondering if you had a similar thing happen or you were able to get out. Now, I know what happened to me as I was moving my stop. It was not in a position to be hit. So the price went up and went past my stop. It's just unbelievable. Just unbelievable. I'm in a state of shock. I can't believe that happened. It filled me at 638. It was not a great fill either. It was not a great fill. It was down at the bottom, or not at the bottom, but about more than halfway down the candle, and it wasn't even that fast to move. It wasn't even that fast to move. But you've got strong downward pressure on the squeeze. Strong downward pressure on the squeeze. And price is really just hanging. I need to see the video. So normally on the reversal with the WASDE, it's not this behavior that we would normally reverse. It would be a large, fast candle in one direction. This went down, up and down, okay, which makes it harder. I want to look at the video real quickly because I'm a little bit surprised about what happened. Now, no reversal signal there, okay? Not yet. And it's sort of hanging at the price. It's not the reversal behavior I would have expected under any circumstances. As I was saying, I would have expected a giant move down and then a very fast, large reversal up of almost the same size as the move. I want to look at this video and see exactly what happened, because I'm a little bit surprised as to what happened. So let's take a quick look. So, because I'm sure it hit my first target, and then I was moving just to protect my profit, and it reversed. It must have reversed. It reversed so fast. Let's watch. All right, so there's my targets. There's my orders. The initial move is minimal, but there, see right there, I'm profitable, okay? But I'm still 3 in the market. I'm still 3. You could see I'm starting to move my stop. Oh my goodness. And it shoots up. You don't even see it with the naked eye. You can't see it because it got me there, all the way up there. Now, you know, I could say if I would have hit the break even button, that would not have happened. But it's such an unusual, unnatural event that I'm flabbergasted that it happened. I just would not and don't normally trade that report where I have to worry about hitting the break even button, because it has behavior like that. It's very, very surprising. And that's what happened. It's just bad luck. And it is now reversing. And it's very strange today. And you know, I understand why there could have been slippage. I do understand it, because it's only 7 days, 6 days from rollover. So there's a little bit of split volume on the contracts. But even still, that reversal action, it's pretty unusual. Pretty unusual. You know, it's a shame, because hitting the break even button would have avoided that. And it would have been a small profit, but decent. It would have been decent. It's a shame. See, now there's a reversal signal. It's a little bit late. It's a little bit late. There is a signal now. But we have one more event. We'll be back here in 25 minutes, not even 25 minutes. For the 10-year note. So I would be careful. I would not want to get in reversed up here, certainly. Obviously, when it was down here, unfortunately, there was no signal to go in. There wasn't a good reversal signal. Now, maybe on a smaller time frame chart. Don't forget, never change your charts. Always uncheck your strategy before you change your chart. On a smaller time frame squeeze chart, I'm sure you'll get a much earlier reversal. So if you go to a 30-second chart, there's a better reversal signal. Now, sometimes it's tricky when you're looking at 2 instruments to have all the time frames that you want. But that's why sometimes I'll trade 30-second charts. 30-second is better, Michael. 30-second is better. With the squeeze, you're going to get much better reversal signals. And this was actually a very good one. This was a good one. So, and I'm sorry I didn't, I'm going to, from going forward, I'm going to keep my charts on 30, except maybe oil. If we were only trading corn, I would have had my other chart on 30. But you sometimes you just can't do everything that you want to do. Sometimes it's just not possible. It's just not possible. But this is winding up to be a strong reversal. So look, is it gonna pull itself into the high of the day? It could. It's possible. It could pull into that high of the day, often acts as a magnet. All right, folks. Well, we'll be back in 20 minutes for the 10-year note. So 20 minutes for the 10-year note. All right. So who else? Did anybody else trade? There's very few people that said they traded. Anyone else trade? Anybody out there? Michael, you traded? What did you trade? I don't, on this particular report, I don't like trading both because it can be too tricky. It can be too tricky. Albert, you traded corn. So Albert, you got your first target and you were able to get out? Okay. AM, use smaller targets. Okay. No, I was just really not lazy, but I was not rushing because I expected it to continue. That's what got me. I expected the move to continue. I didn't expect it to reverse on me. So I was just moving my stop like I normally do, not in a rush, just thinking that I had time. I didn't think it would reverse in a millisecond. So that was just very bad luck that it did that. And now you have another reversal. Interesting. All right, folks, we'll be back in 17 minutes. 17 minutes. We'll be back for the 10-year. So I'll see everybody in a little bit.